Level 81. Getting there slowly but surely. Moving quickly through this. It's not really all that exciting. Decisions. Lots of choices. Not enough time to really decide. Yeah, let's take this. And is any of this still leveling up? Nope. All the choices. The only thing that's really growing right now is these and a few of these. I'm gonna finish off hers and maybe his. Not really caring about material all that much, except for counterattack. So exciting. Yep, lots and lots of attacking. Not that great of a stream this time. Kind of just laying down and playing. You're expecting some excitement, probably not the video. But check probably 2 videos ago, if you haven't, because that's way more exciting than this one. Yep, and killing. Lots and lots of killing. Alright, going to kill some more. Lots and lots more. Yep. Alright. Yep. Let's. Kill. Lots of kills. What? What are you referring to?
Fire Emblem.
Oh. What's going on?
Store names is
Are you talking about Walmart?
Yes. And it's Brethren, IKEA, Leon's Furniture, Red Robin, Red Lobster, Tiki Palace, Frederick's of Hollywood, and Google Chrome Store. Oh, if I get back into Fire Emblem, I'm probably gonna be like...
Head over heels for Calm again? Because he's such a dork.
Huh? What?
I said, it's like, if I get back into Fire Emblem again, I was like, you mean... for Calm? Like, head over heels for him? Because he's a dork?
Yeah, did I tell you about how awful it was?
Why?
I'm just like, boys! Why do I care about boys?
Because you can care about whoever you want.
Yeah, basically.
You know, you don't...
Like, I'm too gay for this, but...
You don't have to be. You know? And honestly...
I still can't believe Prom is only freaking 19 years old. I'm like, no, I can't accept this.
And technically, you can, in a lot of cases, you can care about only, like, people that appeal to you, you know? Or...
Related ugly.
What?
Someone's like, so I was going through the Crom tag, and Fire Emblem Awakening, Robin, Lucina, FE13, ugly.
Oh.
Or Prom.
Oh.
Still my baby.
I mean... And technically, if you like only people that you like, then that's fine. And if you have a preference to a certain group of people, male, female, or whatever...
Wait, what?
I said you can have a preference of liking only people that you like, and then having a secondary preference of liking a certain type of people, like male, female, or whatever, you know, as a secondary, and that's fine too. You know? Because honestly, I think you should be able to love whoever you feel like. So.
Net.
Or as Flea from Chrono Trigger says, male, female.
I'm not paying attention to you right now.
I can tell.
I
was quoting a video game.
No, I was...
Are you in La La Land on Tumblr?
A little bit. I also love Frederick. He's adorable. It's just, I don't know. I guess... He's so
No, what I said, I was quoting Chrono Trigger. In particular, a character comes out, like, states that male or female, it doesn't matter, power is everything. Because honestly, you don't have to be a male or a female to be powerful.
I know that.
Just like you don't have to be male or female to be strong, or smart, or, you know, witty, or be able to drive a car. You know? Or have any type of profession.
Pick a god. I love Frederick. Pick a god and pray.
Pick a god and pray? Like, you want me to select one?
Not you! I wasn't talking to you, I was quoting something! Leave me alone!
But you're right there and you're speaking out loud. And I was gonna say also I'm doing a live stream.
You're doing a live stream right now?
Yes, and what? Discouraged that the world might hear your voice.
Yes! I didn't know you were live streaming right now!
Eh. Huh?
Delete this.
Please delete this?
Yes.
Why?
Cause...
I mean, to be honest, my videos usually only get like 2 to 3 views. So, I think the most views I've ever gotten is like 28 for a Final Fantasy video, like Final Fantasy VII. But for Final Fantasy Type 0, when I was actually going and doing like 50-second, you know, clip, I get like 200 views. Because it's actually useful stuff. This is just grinding. Nobody cares about grinding. And also, I didn't know you were so protective of your voice.
Not the voice, the content.
The content?
The content.
Which content? About FE?
No. Well, then again, do I really care about this? No.
Yeah.
Not really. I don't care. I decided I don't care. Nope, nope, nope.
Okay. Yep. It's really quick, though. I kind of want to talk about stuff, but I don't know what to talk about. Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
I kind of wish I had enemy lure on. Then go back to your room. I'm checking Phoenix Towns. I have 99 Phoenix Towns. Okay, I need to go back to Utai. Yay! Why are you going back to your room anyway? Okay. Alright. A Titan was born. Yay! Does that make me Kronos? Yep, running all the way back over to... Oh, gee. Alright. Got quite a bit of money. Alright. Getting right back into where I left off. Oh, God. Oh yeah, I forgot about that, actually. Thank you for bringing that back to me. How is the world, guys? What was that?
Coming to you, Buddha.
Are you guys all playing Rainbow Six? You actually work together as a team with anybody?
I was looking at the ground and it didn't even show up.
Cloud, last time I checked, you're not a team player. Mainly because you're always carrying them. Oh, what happened? You actually get a good team?
Yeah, Buddha, you're gonna have to get in there now.
Yeah. Well. At least you guys sound like you're having a lot of fun. Insane, are you also playing with them?
Yes, sir.
How do you have this game? Aren't you jealous?
One of my friends got it as a Christmas gift and he didn't want it. He's like, oh, it's $10. $10?
Oh. Oh.
That's all
Wait.
he does anymore.
Sounds boring.
Not really. There are a couple indie games on the PlayStation Network that he's made music for.
But he doesn't play games. No, I mean, everybody's got their own preference on exactly what they want to do in life, you know? Whether it be sitting there playing a game or making music or, you know, in my case, teaching, you know? Yeah. I mean, technically, there are people who do make money from playing video games. They're just kind of far and in between. Alright, and moving on a little bit more. So, you guys are playing Rainbow Six. What exact version? You keep on saying that. Then stop doing it. Yeah, well, we're so sorry. Okay. So, Insane, give me a topic.
No, don't even worry about you. Don't use the challenge. We need to win this.
What? No, I didn't hear you.
You don't want to hear me, trust me.
Oh my god. I don't know anything about that topic, so give me a topic I might know something about.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti?
Your favorite animes of the year.
Oh god, okay, well... I watched quite a bit this year, though I think some of the key ones that I watched, no pun intended there, because I don't really care about key. Trying to remember when stuff came out. So I was excited that Log Horizon came back this year. Same thing with, what the hell's the name of that show? It's Magic High School. I can never remember it. Yeah. The Magic High School one was pretty cool. You know, our third like season of Fate, Linear, Kaliad, Prisma, Ilia was also decent. Yeah, right now I'm doing a live stream for Final Fantasy VII, and that's why I was asking for an idea of what to do. Yeah. All you guys are doing is constantly talking about that game, so I'm just gonna leave. Yeah, okay, so being in a party and doing that and talking to him was not the greatest thing to do. Sorry about the video cutout and audio cutout there for a second. It's kind of annoying trying to have a decent conversation with people who play different games. Sometimes it gets in the way. So I kind of had to cut them off. So the topic that he gave me was top anime of 2015, I'm guessing. And I mentioned a few series. I cannot even remember them for the life of me. I mentioned Lost Horizon and the third-ish season of Fate Linear Prisma, or Fate Linear Kaliad Prisma Ilia, which was decent. Biggest joke of that series was Golden Boy, aka Gilgamesh. Hahaha, very funny. So that definitely helped out a lot. I really did enjoy that. Shirabato was around this year too. Definitely worth a watch. You get a chance to. It's about a group of girls who made a promise on donuts to become in part of the anime industry, and it's really good. I definitely recommend it. Aside from those, I've watched a few other things here and there, mostly some Gate, which I enjoy Gate, simply because of the ridiculousness that goes into how to deal with politics in military situations. Though it's a bit exaggerated, especially if you watch one of the scenes where they're like, oh yeah, you know, they completely mow down people with, like, their weaponry, and then they capture the enemies, and then they're like, no, we're civilized beings, we can't torture them or do bad stuff, and I'm just like, that's coming from the people who just mowed down, like, a crowd of enemies. The fuck is wrong with you? So, kind of out there, and I'm just gonna say that I'm very irritated by the double standard on that. Either you're nice or you're cruel. Don't try to play it off that you are a really nice and civilized person when you're really not. Now, mowing down people with freaking heavy artillery is not a method of being kind. Okay, that takes care of Odin. Getting there. There's 3 left in here. Yeah, probably do that. It's stronger, but yeah. Yoshiyuki. Alright, just taking a quick look here to see what I can throw out. I'm going to exchange these just a little bit. Take all and another So I got 3 balls on him. And then I'm going to go ahead and move Elemental up here. And this over here. Okay, because I kind of want to switch out her weapon. It's getting kind of annoying looking at this stupid thing. Twin Viper is nice, but I got better things to put on with other enemy skills. And I can wear MP Plus if I really wanted to. See, I have full HP and MP. Yay! But it's not needed. Alright. But yeah, definitely a great year for anime. I watched a bunch of Fairy Tail, as usual. So yeah, like I said a little while earlier, Gate was kind of my guilty pleasure. I really like fantasy type anime, and the crazier it is, sometimes the better it is. That's why I kind of like Log Horizon, because it kind of deals with that stuff. But there are other stuff too. For a while I was watching Sword Art Online, though a lot of people tend to hate that show or love it. It's all subjective. That's perfectly fine. If you don't like it, so be it. You know, everybody's different and has different tastes. You know, and I know it's technically a bad show for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. Me, I see it as a pure form of entertainment and try not to look too far beyond that. But then there are other fantasy anime that I definitely recommend if you like that kind of stuff, especially that of like Sword Art Online. I would say go ahead and try out The Tower of Druaga. It's actually a 2-series show, and it's pretty decent. Though when you watch the very first episode, it's really wacky and kind of messed up, but get some getting used to. But definitely worth a watch. I wouldn't say it's like the best anime out there, but it's definitely fantasy oriented. Otherwise, yeah, stick with stuff like Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail is very fantasy based. If you're a little bit old fashioned, I might recommend something along the lines of Wreck of Rose 4 or Slayers. Though I recommend Slayers above Wreck of Rose 4 for obvious reasons, because I do the comedy aspect of Slayers. Though I've not seen all of the Slayers stuff, just the main series, which is like 5 seasons long, and like the movie, or motion picture, which are all pretty decent, though the massive number of OVAs I just have not touched. You know, but I'm a big fan of, let's have dragons, let's have, you know, medieval type of storyline, let's throw in all sorts of random magic stuff. I kind of like that stuff. It just drags me in, and it just does wonders. But then again, I also like anything with magic. I think that's really what it comes down to. Especially things where they mix technology and magic. That's why I like a lot of Magical Girl series. In particular, I really like Magical Girl series, in particular, like Nanoha. Decent. Though I have not watched the newest one. I think it's Video or Vivid. I need to watch that, so I already got through the first 3 series. And I've been still waiting on the other movie for Nanoha. I don't know when it's coming out, or if it did come out. I've been kind of out of the loop from it. But I really love anime like Cardcaptor Sakura, Magic Knight Rare, I know there's a few others, I'm just blanking on them. I don't know if I would really take, trying to remember the name of the series, Revolutionary Girl Utena one or not. I really did like that one, but at the same point, it also kind of felt out of place. You could tell that it was made in like the 90s, to a degree, but it was pretty good quality for the 90s. I haven't watched a whole lot of Sailor Moon, but what I watched that I enjoyed, I need to sit down again one of these days and just watch it. I'm trying to remember other Magical Girl series. Oh yeah, Fate Linear, Fate College, Fate Linear, Hollywood, Prisma, oh yeah, that Magical Girl series is interesting. A little bit on the perverse side, but definitely worth it. I do enjoy that. But getting a little bit away from like Magical Girl series, other series with like magic that are fairly decent are like Mamoraho. Though it's a little bit harem based, I really do enjoy it. Same thing with Shuffle, a bit harem based, and though I watched them for two very distinct differences. I watch Mamoraho because of the magic. I watch Shuffle because it actually is a rom-com and it's actually enjoyable. So if you ever get a chance, just go ahead and sit down and watch them. You know, I'm trying to think of other series that really landed a mark. Oh, here's a series that doesn't really seem really up my typical alley, and somehow it worked. This is actually a series that's more based on like steampunk, and doesn't usually fall into like any of like the other categories that usually I follow. It's not really fantasy that much, and it's not really like magical girl, and it doesn't have magic. It's got a very basic science kind of rundown, and the name of the anime is called Last Exile. You might call it that, it's kind of magical in a way, or, you know, with some of the things that happen a little bit magical, but for the most part, it is steampunk at its finest. If anybody was thinking about watching an anime that isn't absolutely horrible to any particular type of people, and is pretty much good all around with a pretty decent animation style and cast, that is the series I will recommend. It was a big hit in the early 90s, I'm going to say roughly around 2003 to 2004. It was a major hit here in the US at least. They aired it on, I think, G4 or something like that. Tech TV or something. One of those channels. It was basically the same channel, but it was being bought up constantly and moved around. So it's one of the better series out there. Definitely look it up. I know that they came out with the sequel, which people have been claiming to be absolutely horrid, but I did watch it. I did enjoy it. I don't know if I really consider it better than the original. And one of these days I intend to buy it. I would really want to buy Last Exile, FOM of the Silver Wing. So it would be definitely nice. And I heard that they were working on a movie or something. There's going to be something more related to it eventually, but I don't know who's got the rights or anything else like that. So I'm looking forward to it. So if you ever get a chance, just go ahead and pick it up. It's nothing like any of the other anime you've ever watched. I'm just going to point that out. It's one of the better ones, without a doubt. Yeah. But aside from steampunk's not your thing, the fantasy is not your thing, there's gotta be something, you know? If you're watching anime, you have to have a preference of some kind, whether it be a single show, or a certain, like, archetype of characters or something. There has to be something that draws you into it. And if you're just watching it for watching its sake, it's not really getting you anything. Now, I know people will only watch stuff that is based off of, like, card games. So they would watch stuff like Yu-Gi-Oh! And, you know, Duel Masters and stuff like that. I think it even they eventually picked up like Vanguard stuff and similar series. I was like, okay, so it's basically like an anime tutorial for a card game. But the only problem is that usually those tutorials end up really skewing out exactly how the game plays, and in some cases, like with Yu-Gi-Oh, it didn't actually work out. And it was even funnier when Digimon tried it. Digimon didn't even try to play the game, they just used them to, like, power up the Digimon. Like, the card game was in the anime, it was just that you never really saw them actually playing it. There was, like, no tutorial, no explanation on how to play it, and then, voila, they use the cards, scan them in their Digivices, and all of a sudden you have superpowered Digimon. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. I mean, that's really the most confusing thing out there. But then there's like Yu-Gi-Oh, where it's like the card game is part of the world that you live in, kind of, and it's all related to the actual real world and has real world consequences. That's a little bit stranger. And then you have Card Fight Vanguard, where you get a glorified tutorial. You know, and sometimes you get a game, or not a game, an anime, it's like, it seems like it's giving you a tutorial, but then there's like no explanation whatsoever what it is. It's all promotion and everything, and you're just like, I don't get it. And that is why Survive R. And why Survive. Why Survive is basically a tutorial, aka anime, that doesn't really explain anything very well, and is used as promotional work for Wise Schwartz, the Japanese anime card game. Vastly successful in Japan, has been around since 2009. I learned about the game in 2010. I promoted the crap out of it for a good, 4 or so years. And I did my best to try to keep the game going here in the States, because I was doing it here in the Midwest, and it just was not picking up. Eventually they came out with like English decks in 2013, 4 years after the game was released in Japan, and they just released some trial decks, not very many. They had the initial trial deck in 2010 that was working with, I think, Nippon Ichi Software for the Disguise English deck. And then when they came out with these additional trial decks in 2013, they pretty much dismissed their legal use in anything. It was like they were writing it off. It's like, no, this is wrong, this is bad, we don't like how this was done. It's not an official release. And I was like, oh god, why did you do this thing? And so they came out with this, and it just had trial decks. They were all basically the same, and nobody really cared. And then about a year and a half later, they released the booster boxes for these sets. Finally. And then like 2 months later, after the booster boxes came out, they released Sword Art Online. Mind you, the ones that they had previously, they weren't bad, like, because they really came in kind of strong, okay? The ones that they chose were, the anime was licensed by Aniplex USA, notorious anime company for having ridiculously expensive anime being released here in the US. When I mean ridiculous, I mean generally when you thought about an anime series, you're thinking probably $20, $30, $50 for the anime. Because that's the trend that the United States has had for anime for probably the last, I don't know, like 10, 15 years. Prior to that, it was significantly less. like, it's gotten weird because the system was back in the 90s, when anime was still on VHS, it was kind of expensive. It was like, you'd be lucky to get 3 episodes for a VHS tape for $30. So you're paying like $10 an episode almost. And in some really rare cases, this was especially found in Funimation releases, you might get 4 episodes for $30. And it's like, wow, that was like a killer deal, because now you're paying significantly less. You're paying roughly about, you know, $7.50 per episode instead of $10. It's like, oh my god, this is awesome. But when they did the shift to DVD, it was still the same way, and DVDs were still like $30, and VHS came out a little bit cheaper. Okay, and they did this for a while. And then, if you wanted to get a box set of anything, depending on the company, the box sets were kind of expensive. Companies like Geneon released box sets only once they sold enough singles. And the same went with like Funimation. Funimation at the time, when they initially went to the DVD, they owned basically 2 shows. They owned Dragon Ball Z and Yu Yu Hakusho. And they initially started with just Dragon Ball Z for anime. Kind of ridiculous amount. But that show has spurred that company into great success. And I don't know how many reprintings they've had of their show and how much finagling they've done. But I know they originally released on VHS, did a edited VHS, then moved to DVD and edited DVD. They re-released in the remastered sets of their earlier series, or seasons. So that was kind of nice. And then they released the orange season sets. And then they started trying to release the Dragon boxes, which were DVD sets, just a fewer number. I believe it was supposed to be 7 instead of 9. But the orange sets definitely had a plus on the Dragon sets. The Dragon sets didn't have marathon mode, but apparently were higher quality, which kind of made me upset, but who cares. And then just recently they were like, oh yeah, we're going to go ahead and turn these to Blu-ray. So they've definitely gone a long way. But getting back to that, Funimation, they are now known as like the cheapest anime company here in the US because they sell anime sets, like complete series of anime that are generally 12 to 26 episodes long, depending on what they are, for like less than $20. But at one point, they were selling Dragon Ball Z VHS, box sets for $150, and not just for like an entire show, like for like one saga. That means like you want to get the Frieza saga, which was like 100 episodes or something like that, you had to shell out $150. I don't even think it was that long, actually. I think it was only like 10 tapes long, so it was like 30 episodes or something like that. So $100 or so for that, $150 for like 30 episodes. You're paying like $5 an episode, which in all reality isn't so bad. It's cheaper than buying it, in individual tapes, and it came in a nice box. And when you combine the tapes, they made an image. Yay! Productivity, I guess. But as they progressed, something like that dropped in value, because it got reprinted so many times. Like now the orange season boxes are like $15, and the Blu-rays are like $20. And I'm just like, you can get the Blu-rays for $20. That's kind of cool. And I will always look at it as being one of the coolest things ever. But moving back onto that, there are other companies that followed the older version of, you know, releases. ADV did it, Geneon did it, Bandai did it kind of. Like, they would only release complete box sets once they hit a quota of singles. Which people realized after a while that, oh god, once an anime company turns it into a Legends or whatever, like complete box set, it generally is cheaper. So the individual volumes being about $25 to $30 a piece would be resold as a complete box set. So I'll just use a nice easy one. Neon Genesis Evangelion. Okay, originally was on VHS. $30 for 3 episodes. Not very many. Okay. The series was about 26 episodes long. That means if you do the math, you're looking at about 8, maybe 9 VHS tapes. Okay, you do the math for if the bare minimum 8 is $240. Alright, so when they released the DVDs, they were about the same, not the big of a deal, and then they decided that they were going to release a complete box set. The complete box set, which retailed at like $180, was apparently a hell of a deal. Okay, and then as the years progressed, that box set became cheaper and cheaper with each additional printing. They ended up having a platinum edition where they changed some of the voices and stuff like that, and dropped the price down to like, I think they dropped it all the way down to like $40. $40 for something that originally cost people 6 times that amount. And it was kind of surprising, and people were upset. I mean, I was kind of upset that something like that existed. I was kind of furious, because if I had bought something all separately, it made me upset. Mind you, this happened a lot in the anime industry, especially with Bandai, Geneon, and even Funimation, and ADV especially. Because I own a series by Funimation. The series is called Panty Pony Dash. I will say this much. It was kind of a tough series for me, personally, to get. Mainly because of a lot of different factors. First off, I bought the Volume 1 with the box. Cost me about $35. And then I bought each individual DVD as it came out, because they weren't very expensive. They were like $20 a piece. But the reason why I had such a big issue is Panty Pony Dash wasn't immensely successful. Wasn't exactly the greatest series, but had some good laughs here and there. If you haven't seen it, I would just pass over it. It's not the greatest series. It's about a genius teacher who is like 10 years old and trying to teach a class of high schoolers, more or less. And the problem with it is that the very last volume was Chaos Cum Laude, which is I believe it's a French term. And no matter, like, I tried to get it by doing other methods, like trading with people and like online and putting on requests and like wishlist and stuff like that, and I got nailed by a lot of people for did not mean to do that, for having the word, you know, cum in anything. And I was like, first of all, it's a foreign word, don't get on my case about it, and accept it. It's a phrase that does not have that connotation that you're referring to. But unfortunately, it was flagged, like, everywhere. And I was just like, well, that's grand. How the hell am I ever going to get this volume? Eventually, I caved and bought the damn thing for $20-some. Because I was trying to get it for a little bit cheaper with the last volume. So I finally built it, and about a year later, after I built it, you know, my series that I spent, you know, I'm trying to remember, it was 6 volumes long, so $130, came out in the Save Edition for less than $20. I was so upset. I had spent more than $100 on the series than what it was retailing for. Plus, it was in a thinner box, it wasn't as big or bulky, and I needed shelf space, so this kind of also made me a little bit angry. Well, this wasn't the only series that this happened to me with. I bought another series called F and Lead, happened the same way, did the same thing with, I'm trying to remember the name of it, Fate Stay Night, the original G-Man version. Mind you, that was a really tricky one, mainly because when the final volume came out, G-Neon was starting to have issues. And I wanted a very specific version of this final volume. Because the last volume of Fate Stay Night came with a saber clock. It was like you could get a special version with a saber clock. And it was fully functional and everything. I thought it was like one of the coolest things ever. So I found it and purchased it, but it took me a while to find it. I had to go to this like special website and get it. Because nobody actually had it when it released. Because all the pre-orders were buying it up because guess what? G-Neon was starting to sink. So I grabbed it. I thought it was cool. I really love Fate Stay Night. Considering the quality of animation compared to like a Blu-ray version is very minimal. And if you ever get anything from like some of the G-Neon titles that they had in the mid 2000s, you'll notice that. Another series that follows that trend is Shakugan no Shana. If you buy the Blu-ray and the DVD, like you can really watch them side by side and you will barely be able to tell the difference. It's that well done for whatever reason. But that being the case, that was the sucker who bought it. Mind you, I also bought Fate Stay Night on a whim, not knowing any of the related content or the like, and later found out about it. So, woo, wasn't that awesome? And now I own like some other Fate series or Type Moon related stuff, and Fate Stay Night just has a special place in my heart because it's kind of a interesting series. Again, with the magic and the other part, the Arthurian mythos, embedded into it. Mind you, remember me talking about fantasy earlier? Arthurian mythos goes a long way with me. I really like it, and some series have it in it, just not as blatant. For anybody who's actually watched Code Geass, this is what I mean. Because Code Geass has the Arthurian mythos in it, whether you realize it or not. Because, yes, the Knights of the Round are around the series, but you don't see them as that much, because honestly, when you're watching it, you see the Gawain and the Lancelot and a few of the other knights. I'm trying to think of the other ones that are coming. It's been a while since I remember all the Arthurian ones. God, why am I blanking on this? Oh my god. Anyway. But some people are like, but you forgot about Arthur. Well, Arthur technically is in the series, but not as a giant mech. He is actually the cat that bites Suzaku, conveniently the pilot of the Lancelot. It's so interesting on how well that is playing out, and I don't know who came up with the concept, but kudos to them. Plus, they did an amazing job writing that anime. Like, they could have completely bombed it at the end of Season 1, but when they finished Season 2, I have to give them the biggest applaud. Now, the OVA/movie that came out recently, the Agito of the Exiled or whatever, I haven't really seen it, but I want to, because it is a continuation or spin-off of Code Geass, and sometimes spin-offs are good, sometimes they're horrible. It just depends. I will say, I do not like Angel Links as a spin-off to Outlaw Star. Plain and simple. I really like some parts of, or for the most part, Outlaw Star. I do not like Angel Links. Just like I like Bubblegum Crisis, I do not like AD Police. Sorry. Sometimes those spin-offs are just simply that. Spin-offs that just aren't as great as the original. So, makes me kind of sad about that. So, speaking of which, though, taking a look at other anime, there are a ton out there, and more likely, if you mentioned it, like, as being a pretty good anime, I probably have seen it, but there's no guarantee. Many people have not actually seen my, list, but if you ever happen to be on, my anime list, you can always look me up. I am Mune on there, and right now I think I have listed that I've seen like 1,000 anime, which is quite a bit. I've seen a ton of stuff, and it's not just all the short stuff. It's like, oh yeah, you only watched like the stuff that's only like 1 or 2 episodes long, or 12 episodes long. No, I watched some really long stuff, and some stuff I watched pretty goddamn long, and then I dropped it because I just felt like it wasn't going anywhere. Case in point, Detective Conan. I was gonna say Case Closed there for a moment, but no, Detective Conan. I watched like the first 350 episodes. I think that's how many it was. And I kind of got bored of it, even though like around 350 was pretty interesting. But I couldn't stand it anymore, and trying to watch that series here in the US is kind of difficult because of all the stuff and restrictions related to that series. So the first thing that comes to mind is like, well, you can just fan sub it. Well, technically, fan subbers don't want to sub everything. Okay, they usually count a lot of the episodes of Detective Conan as filler, and thus skip over. Then they only want to get the stuff that actually is worthwhile, related to the plot, and so forth. So that's one. 2, relating to that, is that fan subbers want to make sure that they get the stuff that they need, okay? But domestically, when it finally came over by Funimation got through roughly, I'm going to say about 6 seasons. Okay, one of my friends later told me that it was roughly a little over 100 episodes. Or maybe about 150, I don't know, really, it wasn't that far. And the reason why Funimation stopped doing it was because they just were not making any money. Nobody was buying up all these seasons that they were putting hard work and money into, so they stopped doing them and they focused solely on the movies. and I'm not sure if the movie's actually sold or anything like that, but this was a few years ago. Case Closed is one of those series that I would say, if you're going to release it here in the US, just air it on TV. That's the only way that you're going to get anywhere, but unfortunately, due to the content, it was quickly put onto like Adult Swim or just solely the Funimation channel, because there's a lot of stuff that would not be appropriate, and for whatever reason, cultural differences between Japan and the US, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Especially when you have the first episode where a guy gets his head lopped off the rope on a roller coaster. And it was because of a cheating boyfriend. And mind you, these are like teenagers, and you're just like, oh my god, what the hell? And it does happen. And they had to put it on Adult Swim here in the US because of that kind of content. The problem with that is that most of the people who actually want to watch stuff that would actually benefit from watching it, and the critical thinking skills, are not those that are actually usually watching Adult Swim. Case in point, a lot of people watch other shows that are more Americanized and humorous to the American audience. Case in point, shows like Family Guy. But sometimes they do have realistic, thought-provoking anime like Death Note. Though Death Note was popularized way before it actually released here in the United States. And that tends to be the trend, is anime that generally gets put onto American television, like Adult Swim and Toonami and so forth, is gone through the process of somebody online, saw it and the fan base grew and become saturated. And that's how stuff like Attack on Titan got on there. And that's how it remains on there. Because honestly, if I had to choose anime to actually be on there, I would not have chosen Attack on Titan. For the very fact that, one, it's not a series that actually has an ending in anime form, and two, I think it's not high. Not that it's not a high enough quality. It's not to the liking of what people would expect to actually get out of anime. Like, I wonder what would actually happen if they aired something that was a little bit more appropriate for television and not be completely, ominous, about it. Because they completely got away with airing Death Note and, Attack on Titan, and I was just wondering, it's like, okay, if you're looking for action anime, why not put something on there that actually has an ending? Why not put something that influences the world, and I'm pretty sure there's a ton of anime out there like that. Like, I've never seen stuff like Fate Stay Night on there. The reason being is it has a beginning, middle, and end. It's pretty solid, and it's not too far out there, usually. Just as long as you're not putting on Unlimited Blade Works where, Gilgamesh kind of rips out a child's heart. That's kind of going a little bit overboard. But, I mean, the original Fate Stay Night series. So, is what I would recommend. But unfortunately, due to the FCC standards of exactly what you're supposed to be allowed to put on television, I think there's some restriction somewhere that says that they're crossing the line. So they usually select series that don't have too many Eastern references. And I'm kind of upset about that, considering a lot of the good series out there are ones with those references. One that I would definitely recommend that has a lot of Western and Eastern references is a certain magical index and a certain scientific railgun. Both kind of relatable to Western Eastern parts. of the world, because one is talking about magic and nuns and, you know, how it relates to that, and the other relates to science and somewhat like kind of a mystical power, which brings in like espers and so forth, which I thought is very intelligent. But I think the other part that also comes up is the violence against children in media. Because when you really look at a lot of these very successful series in Japan, and probably with the vast majority of anime fans, you see this happen a lot. Mind you, I really love some of these series, but it also never stopped shows like Dragon Ball Z from airing here in the US. And I will make note of that Gohan, when he was getting trained by Piccolo, was pretty much child abuse to him, and neglect, and, you know, so many grounds of other things that could have gone wrong. Gohan could have died. Okay? Also, he was 5. You know, at the time. And when he went off to Namek, he was like 6. You know? 6-year-old going to another planet. Wasn't really specified on how long he was on Namek. We're guessing like a few like weeks at the very least. Or at least a few days. And then when he got back, you know, he had spent some time with his mother, and oh my gosh, he hasn't seen his mother in over a year. You know, scary thought right there. You haven't seen your child in over a year, and they were taken from you when they were 5. Oh my god, that's like a parent's worst nightmare. But, so, Gohan went through that. He got beat up and by Nappa, by, you know, Vegeta. Got beat up by, I'm trying to think, got beat up by Cell. Got beat up by Frieza. You know, he didn't fight the android, so that's the funny thing. And all the while, he's like, you have to understand, he's not even like 14 when all this happens. He basically goes through pretty much what no child really should go through. Luckily for, you know, him and, well, the company, he didn't die as a child. Because that was a big issue. If he would have died, that probably would have been the end of the series. It would have been horrible. Whereas, like, Dragon Ball, we all saw Krillin die. You know, but then again, it's Krillin, he always dies. Very horrible fact of the matter. But there are other factors running through it also. But I want to see if they can actually pull something out, and keep anime going here in the US. I want them to have something nice. You know, and I want people to really enjoy it for their own preferences. I already know that a certain scientific railgun and a certain magical index aren't technically over, which is kind of disappointing. There's a ton of anime out there that has all sorts of magic and so forth. So if you have similar taste to me, that's great. If you're looking for other magical series, I recommend like Field Zero, which is like 4 seasons long. So I'm pretty happy to know. Kind of fan servicey though. A lot of people, when they look at that anime, they see like the way stuff is organized and so forth, and they automatically think that it reminds them of Harry Potter. And it's a false sense of security. I'm just gonna say that much. You know, there's tons of anime out there that I would highly recommend. some of which are better than others. If you ever get the chance, you know, sit down and watch something like Fullmetal Alchemist, you know, that aired on American television. You don't necessarily have to watch one or the other. Both are pretty good. Some people will claim that the original is better, and others will claim that the one based off manga, Brotherhood, is always better. I don't really have a preference. I think the original is pretty decent, and I've seen both. Both are pretty good. You know, I had a friend and roommate in college who didn't know anything about anime. Doesn't really care for it or anything. And I was just sitting around watching Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and he kind of started watching it, and he eventually kind of fell in love with the series. And he didn't become an anime fan by any means. He just really liked that series. He watched it with his girlfriend, and they were happy. His girlfriend wasn't an anime fan either, and they just sat down and watched it. Like, they would go to a streaming service and they would watch it, and I was like, oh my god. It completely blew me out of the water. I was very upset about it too. So, and I mean, there's a lot going on here. There's so many good series out there. Don't let anybody tell you that a series is crap, okay? Because honestly, one person's favorite anime could be another person's garbage. I hate to use that analogy, but it's true. Like, okay, I'll put this bluntly, I don't really like Death Note, okay? I really love Code Geass. There are people who have the complete opposite viewpoint of that. And I can very well understand that, and I know it's a method of preference. So that is that's just a fact of life. Okay, there's no controlling that. There's no way to actually say, well, this one's better because of this, and your stuff is crap because of this, and this. Come on. You're pulling hair, you're showing bias and everything. And that's the thing about humans. They're always biased. Period. There's no completely objectional view. And if you were showing a completely objectional view, it would be that you are a robot. And even robots would technically have a biased view because of who created them. So you could never truly have that unbiased lens. You know, me myself, I already know what my biases are, for the most part. I really love certain anime more than others. Obviously, I really, case in point, there's some anime that I just can't get into no matter how hard I try. For the most part, a lot of giant mech anime I can't really get into, especially that of Gundam for the most part. But there are some exceptions, and it's not that I haven't watched them, it's just that I don't really care for them. I was really burnt out on them. I had people basically saying that I shouldn't be watching something unless I know, like, the entire multiverse of, like, Gundam, and that if I think I know something, I am completely wrong. It completely turned me off. Mind you, this is at the point where I've watched all of Mobile Suit Gundam, G Gundam, Gundam Wing, 0083, parts of 0081, or 0080, or it's the other way around. I think it's 0080 I watched all of them. 0083 Stardust Memory was the one I watched parts of, which, that one had a stupid plot, in my opinion. I tried to watch some, newer versions of that, which was Mobile Suit Gundam Seed. Tried to, I'm trying to remember which one it was called, Gundam Age. I watched a few episodes of that, and it was okay. SD Gundam I thought was garbage. And then I always kind of wanted to watch Turn A Gundam, but that seemed to be the only Gundam that was always, like, elusive. So I just never watched that one. And eventually it came out. Guess what? I think it came out, like, in the last year, or will be coming out very soon. So, very upset about that. So there was a lot out there. You know? And out of those Gundam series, the ones that I watched, the one that I loved probably the most was G-Gundam. Because it had likable characters. And not just a big amount of just guys, or whatever, as being pilots. So, that was the main reason why I kind of focused on that one a little bit more. Though, I really do love it when there's a variety. A variety of anime out there definitely makes the world a better place. And without that variety, I wouldn't get a masterpiece like Last Exile. And that's really what I want. I want more masterpieces. Mind you, I've been keeping an eye out for masterpiece anime, and I've always kind of had an eye out for them, because sometimes you find them in the weirdest places. Like, I remember being in middle school and Serial Experiments Lane was hitting Japan hard. It was a sensation, people were talking about it, and I was curious. I wanted to see that anime a whole lot. And eventually I got the chance to watch it, and it was one of those series where it made you really think. And I like it when they do that, when they really make you think of what's going on. And it aired on American television, but it was on that G4 or Tech TV or whatever the hell that damn channel ended up being, after all these years. But yeah, it aired on there. It was the anime that I would say definitely influenced the way I look at anime. And it doesn't fall into the category that a lot of people tend to say was the good time of anime, which was like the 90s. And I'm just like, realistically, the best time to watch anime, like the best age of anime is now. Because more anime is coming out, that's why you might not necessarily always see the good stuff. Because there's a higher regard to art style and timing. Whereas back then, it's like, yeah, we don't really have a timing schedule to get it out, like, overseas, and so nobody really cared. Now, it was only when American companies are like, well, we want to sell, get the rights to it and sell it, and it'll be used as, like, promotional material for, like, the manga. The only problem was the vast majority of stuff that came over here didn't have a manga attachment. You know, Outlaw Star didn't have a manga attachment that was released here in the United States. Trigun didn't have that, you know. And a lot of the other great successes of the 90s also didn't have that. Ones like Dragon Ball Z were mostly ignored for their source material, and most people only care about their anime. And some things were promoted very well, like Sailor Moon, though it went quickly out of print like everywhere, and was not to be seen again for like another 10-15 years almost. So it got ridiculously out of hand, and I was really upset about the whole ordeal. I really wanted it to be better, but unfortunately, due to the screwiness of the system, we were kind of left out of the loop. Nobody wanted to, like, get their hands into manga that much. Mainly because manga takes the shape of a book, because that's really what it is. Takes the space of a book in a bookstore, which they could probably guarantee that that book will sell more likely manga. Mind you, there's been a ton of research probably done by Barnes & Noble and other retailers that found that manga actually does sell. But that research was mostly done in like the last 10 years, not, 20 years ago when this stuff was just coming out. So anime was sold in specialty stores for the most part. In the 90s, it was sold by places like Sam Goody, Suncoast, and sometimes Best Buy. What happened in the early 90s, or not 90s, 2000s, is that Suncoast and Sam Goody went under. Companies like VII started picking up the slack. Walmart started picking up a little bit, but Best Buy definitely took over in the anime market. And it worked for a while. And then Best Buy started leaning on it, and eventually almost completely pulled out of that market. Simply because fans were learning about the uses of the internet and figuring out better ways to get their material. Unfortunately, during my buying spree of anime, usually I stuck with going to Best Buy, because there was generally a fairly medium, amount of anime there. And my selection wasn't limited by choose this A series, or this B series, or this C series. It was, here are like 50 choices, take your pick. I like that. But then what happened was the online market got stronger. Stuff got cheaper, and fighting with companies got, annoying. So I started ordering from Right Stuff, and from like middle of Iowa, which is fine. They generally have way killer deals around Christmas and New Year's. They're a good company, but I also bought stuff from like DVD Pacific and Amazon. And when I was just buying, I didn't care if they were in new shape, year shape, it didn't matter. But now I care a little bit more that it's in newer condition. Because when I was ordering stuff from Right Stuff, I had a nightmare and a half ordering stuff, because I would get materials and like special editions and stuff like that, and they would be broken, and I was very much upset. So I was really mad about the whole ordeal. Alright, well, I'm approaching an hour and a half, and I'm starting to feel a little bit tired. I probably should get up and do some other stuff before I go to bed, but thanks for watching. As you can see, Cloud is making quick progress to level 99, but he will not get there first. I will make sure of that. I'll break his legs, knock him out, and allow somebody else to gain that great honor. Thinking about having Yuffie do that, but until next time, this is Mune out, and this will be great fun.